she didn't want any, publicity, and she didn't want me to talk about her on the air. I wondered why. So I invited her down, and the rest is history. This poor young lady loved me for me, not for being on the air.
Well,
and God bless Robin.
And she's a sweetie.
She's a sweetie. She was a cantor for 22 and a half years over at Cherry Hill, and she has a voice of an angel, and she's been the star of my life for the last, I'm losing count.
As Jimmy would say, the real stuff.
And
17 years.
Steve says that radio is theater of the mind, and now it's the theater of the heart.
That's true.
That's a nice story. That's a great story.
It's the truth.
That's
I could
beautiful.
have never made it up. She was Jewish. I was Catholic Italian. So we had a wonderful
Hey,
life.
who the Catholics say? Who's our boss?
Right.
He's Jewish.
Right.
We're only here to buy retail. That's the other reason.
Somebody has to.
Somebody has to. So I am loved by all her friends, and all the Italians love her. Matter of fact, the Italians love my wife better than they love me sometimes. They say she's a real sweetheart.
She's delightful, and we
Thank
heard a little bit of her voice. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Now, so how old were you when you first went down to Bandstand?
Well, we were supposed to be illegally 14 years old. We all lied about our age. We were 13.
And I went down there myself a couple of times, and I always tell Sally's story, and I know you've interviewed Sally a few times.
Oh, yes, I have.
When I was down there the first time, and of course the regulars got treated totally different than the schmeckles that just would come down like
That's
me.
right.
You bop down. And,
It was a clique. It was a clique.
definitely.
Yeah, I'm telling the truth.
And I was excited. I mean, I ran into Carmen and Yvette Jimenez.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, whoa.
Oh, there.
Remember she had that streak in her?
The blonde, the first blonde. Yeah.
Very hot. So while I'm sitting there, and I'm maybe all of 15,
That's
14
hot.
or 15. It was hot back then, babe. Hot to me in my 15-year-old little mind.
Oh, boy.
I just think that we've heard something new here. Well, I never knew you with your schmeckles and all went down to try to get on Bandstand.
Oh, no, I didn't try. I went a couple times. And when I'm waiting outside in line, see, the regulars didn't wait in line.
No, we just walked right through the door.
That's it.
And they hated us for that.
Yeah,
Because the regular kids were waiting for maybe a half hour, an hour right after school.
Did you remember a kid in the back yelling, "I hate you"?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, the L would pass by, and years ago the L you could unscrew the bulbs. They would throw a bulb down from the L platform and almost hit us.
Get the hell out of here. How about those West Catholic girls in uniform? My guys.
The nuns would not allow them to show.
I know, but they would have that West Catholic uni on.
But they had to wear like a little sweater to not show the call letters.
I'm just stunned my bunkie got on Bandstand. I'm excited.
And Pop Singer probably knew who you were, too.
Oh, Pop's was a wonderful man, and I just heard from his daughter and granddaughter because we put them on our website, and it's called RJ Forever, and he is the man. He was a blessing to us. He owned a little store that was
on the corner.
Was a deli, and all the kids would come down from the studio every day, and he was such a humanitarian.
Yeah. One day I'm down there waiting in line.
Yeah.
Up comes this big old Cadillac, and all of a sudden somebody opens the back door, and out of the back door walks out a lady wearing buckskin and a full-length mink coat. It was white mink, as I recall. And a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
And a girl hat. You know who that was?
And of course, it was a white Cadillac.
Of course.
It was Sally Starr.
Exactly.
Sally Starr.
Many times she had me carry those heavy costumes.
Wow.
And Dick Clark used to say, "You're not her schlep, I said, "Look, I'll do it for her." They were so heavy.
Do you know how many times? Yeah. You know how many times that I have tried to figure out, and I have not been able to zero in on this probing question?
Go ahead.
I don't remember if it was Sally Starr or Annette Funicello was the first female that I noticed that had a chest.
Well, it would be most likely, I'm going to say, Annette Funicello.
I don't know. Yeah, well,
Well, yeah, because Sally was a little older for you.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
you would appeal to the demographic of Annette Funicello on the Mickey Mouse Club.
But he liked Mrs. Robinson. He liked Sally. We saw her.
I remember the
we saw
fringe
her
and
at the, where were we? Down in South Philly.
Oh, yeah.
And you had such a good time talking.
And I related the story to her, and just like I just did now, I said, "Sal, I went to Bandstand. White Cadillac comes up, and I said, this magnificent blonde gets out of the back. She had a full-length fur coat on with a cowgirl hat, and she went like this, and that was me." And I said, "Absolutely."
And she smiled.
And she
from
grinned
South Philly
from
to
ear to
North
ear,
Philly.
And that was a beautiful Cadillac convertible. I
Yep.
remember it every day pulling into the 46th and Market studio.
And she's still beautiful
Wonderful
And,
person. She's on the same station that I emanate the disco show.
Violent, right?
In Violent 92.1, and of course,
What is your website, by the way?
Jesus.
Why don't you give that
It's,
up? RJ Forever?
rjforever.com or rjdiscousa.com.
And it's great to go look at because you'll see all kinds of stuff that from years gone by, and he sends me stuff, and I love it because I go through. It's like going through the pages of your life.
I know. So many people here at OGL get it.
Uh-huh.
Tommy McCarthy enjoys it, and
Yep.
Ron K just sent me a beautiful email. He enjoys, nostalgia. He's a nostalgia buff with Elvis, and I'm nostalgia all my life.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've had to suffer because, when you're nostalgia buffs, not everybody wants to remember their young days.
Well, give us your favorite story. If you had like the number one, what would you say?
The number one what?
Nostalgia story.
All right, before he gives us the answer, let's go to break. We'll come back with.
Okay.
We're on with Ron Joseph, RJ, and now your show is called what? RJ's Disco Disco USA.
Yes, and it's going to be retitled as of September, the Retro Dance Party of America. We're going to repackage it for stations around the country using the word retro.